All right, and we are live. Good evening, everybody. Dave Wilson, the Ringer Hire Show. Hey, listen, this is going to be a great show tonight. I have Sahil Seth, and he's the co-founder and the CEO of Hire Pluto, right?
Correct.
I got it right, so that's the most important thing. So I just got that correct. And tonight, it's a great show on with utilizing AI and the software that they've developed in the interview process. So I'm going to play this video, and you know the drill. I'll be right back after this. You got to tell me what you think of the video.
I love it. I can't say I've already seen it before, so I knew it was coming, but I have to say it's still amazing.
I tell you, I think every guest that I have on, if you've been in staffing and you know yourself there, every single word is a pain point. And on the Fever app there, the gentleman I used for the last 2 years in Bangladesh for $35, that's all it took us. It took us about 2 hours to develop that.
Dang, I gotta hit him up. I gotta get one of those for myself.
Yeah, I love it. So, tonight, everybody, I'm really going to enjoy this show. I'm very passionate about this stuff through the years from video resume screening during COVID when all that hit, and now voice AI. I'm going to just start off. So, if you want to introduce yourself and what you're about, and then we're going to just really get into this. I got a lot of great questions for you.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm Sahil. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Hire Pluto. I'm originally from Syracuse, New York. I go back to high school all the way with my co-founder, went to school at Northwestern University, and have been in the job recruitment for the past few years. I built a previous company on the candidate side, and now I'm focused on really enhancing both the candidate experience and the recruiter experience when it comes to the screening process as a whole. And what Hire Pluto is essentially is a voice AI co-pilot. So what you've probably seen, what a lot of people have seen, is we do voice AI interviews. We have a very interactive agent that we call Pluto, hence Hire Pluto. We like to say it's one of the most natural sounding human-like interactions. And then from that, we like to help recruiters with a lot of the other admin tasks that they can do in their life.
I love it. We already got, good. I got my brother from Florida in already. He's saying good evening. Hey, Mike, how's it going? He's down in Jacksonville, Florida. I want to go right into it to where we're going to show what it is, because I want people in the beginning to see this. When you sent me the video, I looked up on the website and I get it, you're looking through everything. But when I saw that video and what it does and how you can create this interview, whatever kind of questions you want to ask the candidate, and I got so much to talk about it. So let's just go right into it, give them an example of it.
Yeah, definitely. Let me just share my screen right here and let's pray.
I'm going to add it.
Pray the sound works.
All right,
let me know if you can see this.
Cool. So, Mike, I want you to think. Oh, go ahead. Nope.
No, just to give some intro how a candidate gets this. Right now, basically, they can get a link every which way. They can get it on their desktop. They can get it on their mobile device. We can text it out, email out. We really have that omni-channel. So we really want to help with that candidate experience. So there's a lot of ways a candidate can get this experience. So I'll just go ahead and let it play for itself and
love it.
Let me know what you think.
There we go.
Hello, I'm Pluto.
There we go.
Mm-hmm. Have to make sure their mics work, of course.
Good.
Hello, Sahil. Welcome to Brightwave Solutions. We're thrilled to have you here today as we explore the opportunity for you to join our team as a customer service representative. Your role will be crucial in ensuring our customers receive the best support and service. Are you ready to begin?
Yes, Pluto, I'm ready to begin.
Great. Before we proceed, may I confirm how to pronounce your name, and do you prefer a nickname?
No, Pluto, I don't have any nicknames.
Thank you, Sahil. Let me briefly describe what this role involves. You'll be engaging in tasks that are essential for providing excellent customer service, handling inquiries, resolving complaints, and maintaining positive customer relationships. It's all about ensuring customers feel valued and supported. To get started, could you please share a little about your background and explain why you are interested in this role?
Yes, I have extensive experience in customer service. I've worked for many years at a different firm doing customer service over the phone.
That's helpful to know. Can you describe a time when you successfully resolved a difficult customer issue? What steps did you take?
So you kind of get the point there, right? Pluto's
Yeah,
going to go ahead, ask some questions, and yeah, go ahead, ask your questions, David.
yeah, and then, like I said, people watching this, you got to think about it like I did when I was watching. I was like, okay, I love this new technology because as a recruiter and done it for 25 years, I see the value in this. I see it because I've seen it on videos. I see it. To me, it's a lot of time. The time and to find some good candidates that I like how you put on here that there's so many applications that you get. Okay. So now you have a tool that's going to help me find those couple, really good candidates that are going to stick out versus if I would have missed them. Now, I know a lot of people are going to ask, well, it's AI and, it's not a real person I'm talking to. But when you listen to this, it's so real. Sahil, how do you feel candidates are doing it? Do you think they're enjoying it, or what have you seen?
Yeah, so we track stuff like candidate satisfaction score, NPS. So, we set it like a 4.8 out of 5 stars on the candidate experience. And I think that we really have emphasized the candidate experience. And that's actually how my co-founder and I, Logan, started building this is how can we let a candidate stand out in a pile of resumes? When we started, we used to call this like a conversational cover letter.
Right.
The cover letter is dead, but, you know, if you think about it, the resume is also dead, right? Like bullets on a paper don't tell you too much about a candidate anymore. And people, how many times have you heard, if I could vouch for myself,
Right.
I'll have a better job of getting, I'll get a better chance of getting the job, right? Because through speech, you get a totally different, you as a recruiter get a totally different perception of a candidate and a more true perception of a candidate, right? Because we can unlock so many other data points around a candidate from their speech, whether it's sentiment, just qualification questions we ask, as well as other candidate assessment areas. And simultaneously, there's that instant engagement to a candidate, right? Because Pluto can go out right after they apply, right? There's no
Right.
waiting period to schedule to get on the phone. Maybe there's some anxiety that you're waiting to hear back. Your resume, you apply, you never hear back. Like this is instantaneous.
That's what I like. And when they're asking those questions, you got to remember you know, you have the choice as the employer to put these questions in. And what I like is I'm sure is keywords to me is everything. And sometimes in an interview, if a recruiter is not, let's just say not as qualified, trained, or doesn't know as much as say somebody with a seasoned one, that you're looking for those key words. And some people don't realize when you said about the resume being dead. Yeah, the resume, listen, a lot of people are missing those keywords. And I know people struggle with ATSs, and I know you know a lot about that. And everybody thinks that they have to have, the resume and then put 40 words down, just to make sure. But this can be put into your ATS system, right? Or it can match.
Yeah, exactly. So we integrate right into multiple ATS systems. And the issue, with ATS systems and doing like keyword matching that's just been traditionally done is everyone has ChatGPT now.
Right.
Candidates are AI enabled. I can pop in a job description in my resume and it's going to output the perfectly ATS keyword packed resume that's going to get me that job. And you can do that at scale, right? So that's why we're seeing
Yeah.
this stark increase of inbound applications for, every single job. And what I like to say, how I like to distill this problem, is now there is no signal amongst all this noise, right? Because if
Right.
David and Sahil submit 1,000 perfect resumes with all the keywords, how is recruiter X going to possibly be able to tell who's best fit for the role? But
Right.
if you have a conversation with both individuals, then that's a totally different story. And like you said, we integrate perfectly into ATSs. Like we like to say, you can spend 99%, if not 100% of your time with some of our integrations in your ATS. And
Right.
Pluto works completely in the background. Like we'll make that screen, we'll suggest the questions, the assessment areas, the criterias of those questions and assessment areas, and then you can go ahead and tweak them. We'll send it out to the candidates. We'll run campaigns to engage the candidates, like follow-ups, reminders. And then from there, we'll take the whole report evaluation that we do, which is, quite extensive.
Right.
And then we also provide a summary if you don't have time, just when you see the quick hits.
Now that
right
comes
back
back to
into
the employer, right? That comes back to the employer,
right,
whoever the
right
recruiter is, right?
Exactly, right into the notes section of that ATS, right? Or sometimes some ATSs we have a Hire Pluto tab, so we actually our evaluation sits there, or it can be in the notes section. And something we recently are doing is engaging the recruiter. So we'll also notify the recruiter, hey, you have a top candidate that just came in, right? So you don't have to be constantly working on our platform or constantly checking your ATS, because Pluto is truly that co-pilot for the recruiter that sits in the middle of the process and helping you with those manual tasks.
Do you find that it's almost like a two-part interview in a way? Like what I mean by that is like, okay, I'm going to sit through, I'm going to listen to AI. Again, I love it. I got to tell you, so I love it. When somebody gets a chance, we'll put the link. I think we'll put you have the link up there. You can watch it. You really got to think to yourself, okay, some people might stop right away and say, I'm not talking to someone like that. But you know what? You need to get aboard. I'm sorry. Things are 5 years from now, this is going to be something different. Even like you said, you're going to grow and evolve and you're going to see the things. But people, you need to get aboard and accept some of the new technology. That's just me, because this here, I think, gets the candidate a better experience. And the reason I'm going to say that again is because a seasoned recruiter, a recruiter 5 years, a recruiter with 1 year. All right. That 1 year or the 5 year, you're missing some stuff. You might miss. But by this, your company can be really, on that same page. I mean, that's what you got to agree, right? Same page. You're not going to have to worry about Dave asking these questions, John asking these questions, Cindy asking these questions.
Exactly. Recruiters have bad days. Every human I know has a bad day, and AI does not have a bad day. So it's going to be more consistent, more fair across the board. And in some aspects, we customize how the screen goes. We have a bunch of different types based on the role that you're applying for, right? So the experience can be totally different for like each role. It's really up to the recruiter's perception. And to talk about like candidate engagement, why candidates love it, the biggest thing that this enables, whether it's a staffing firm, an internal team, you now become a 24/7 recruiting arm. 75% of the people that take that screen that you just saw, it's going to be after hours, weekends, midnight, in the airport. And, and also I think it's like 70% of people are doing it on their mobile devices, right? The world is changing. Everyone's on the go. And, this gives the flexibility back to the candidate while giving a lot more data back to the recruiter.
I just look at I envision like a VP or, you're the manager of overstaffing, and knowing that all your questions are going to be, everybody's in line. You know what? I ain't got to worry about nobody, asking the wrong questions. Are you doing this, doing it this way? My question, I got a lot of these things that come to me after talking to you about it, is when you're doing this with the AI and you're talking, can you redo the question, or is that out? Or once you start, you're done?
Yeah, so the way our analysis works is it's not like a higher view, a one way, you're done, right? This is a human conversation. I can go all the way at the end and be like, wait, I forgot to mention this. I can ask the AI, can you rephrase that question? Because our analysis, one of the biggest points that we do is we're looking at that entire conversation. So I'll give you an example where it's more beneficial to the recruiter, right? You might ask someone, hey, can you start in the next 4 weeks? Probably a really common question. And 100% of people are going to say yes. But later in the conversation, it might come up, hey, I have a vacation next week. We'll be able to pick that up and actually on, what the recruiter sees is like, no, they can't start. And we'll give the explanation behind that, because everything we do is rooted in explanation. We never say anything arbitrarily when it comes to this, the output.
Right. Because what you're getting, the recruiter is going to get a report. That's what I like, right? So like you said, summary, you're going to get that, because I know a lot of people think about, well, AI is going to take jobs and do different things. Something like this, I don't really believe you're going to take that human aspect out of it, because what I like about it is you're still just interviewing. It's just a screening really process to get you. I think this is going to get people when you see those, like on LinkedIn, when I go in there and I see a remote job, and you see 1,000 applicants, everybody sees it. It's like, come on, seriously, are you kidding me? How can you, as a staffing company or even a recruiter, how are you going to say, wow, I got 1,000 applicants over the weekend? What, are you kidding me? And I like how you broke it down. As simple as this was, you put on your website, it says with 5 recruiters, each handling 20 calls a week, average 30 minutes a call on an interview, 50 hours on calls. And I look at that now as a recruiter, I agree 1,000% with that, because I'm like, on the management roles, on the higher up roles, you're spending more time versus entry level. But the entry level, I don't want people to get turned around that this can be used for entry level. I see the benefits of that, because again, a human, you're putting the information in there.
Yeah, no, exactly. This is like your Copilot as a recruiter, right? This is an enablement platform for a recruiter and a way to like repackage data, because we'll
Right.
give you the report, but we'll give you the recording, we'll give you the transcript. So, maybe you're a little skeptical of AI at first. And okay, just listen in the conversation. It's kind of the same as doing it, but you're going to save a lot of your time, right? Because there's nothing worse for a recruiter than having your morning stacked with
Right.
10 unqualified candidates and, it's the afternoon and you haven't spoken to one qualified candidate. That's a huge waste of everyone's time in the
Time.
process.
Yep, because that's what I mean. And so take me through. All right, so I've just answered all the questions. I love at the end, we'll play it maybe. I love at the end, have a great night, or said goodbye. And I'm like, wow, how would I answer these? But I had to keep saying to myself, answer it like it's just a regular person. Because if you don't, this is where it needs. I like how you said, even though you might say it differently, but if you're still getting the words and you're still getting your skills in there, it's still going to show that you're a qualified candidate. It's not gonna
Yeah,
really say the
exactly.
way you've talked. It's not gonna be like, "Well, Dave talked kind of funny," or long-winded, or gave a long answer. It's not like that, right?
No, exactly. But maybe delivery of speech is an assessment area you do want to assess,
Right.
right? So some people do care, but I'd say there's more of something we have an assessment area that's like English proficiency is a big one. So we
Right.
just upload, this is something we pushed out recently is now we can do a CEFR language proficiency. So we can output that score. But I mean, that's a little different than what you're talking about, but it's complete like whatever you want to assess, you can assess if that makes
See,
sense.
and so when somebody like an employer wants to try this out, I know they can reach out to you. They can go on the website. They can reach out. What Let me back that up. So I wanted to hit the bias about that first before I said that. With bias, that's a big thing with me, because listen, I'm a recruiter that I don't judge anybody. I don't judge anything. I don't look at race. I don't look at way somebody unless the way they're not dressed properly for an interview maybe, or something like that. But a lot of people don't like the way they look on videos, or they don't do this. And I still feel that if I had all this information, it would cut some of that bias out, because some people might not like Dave versus John. They like her, or Cindy again. There is a lot of bias, and a lot of people will say age discrimination. Okay. I love the idea of the voice AI, because people got to stop and think. This is going to get you, I look at it as going to get you in. That's the way I look at it.
Mhm.
Right? I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about bias, there's a lot of like the AI is not going to care how old you are. One, it
that,
can't see you,
right.
right? So
Right.
it's going to be, and we do a lot of things to prevent against bias. So like when we're coming up with that report, we will strip away things like the name if that comes because there's no need for it to know the name, right? Because that could
Exactly.
potentially lead
Yep.
to a bias. We'll strip away things like anything race related or anything like that before we actually even do the process of producing any output or report, right? So we can't possibly be biased on those things when we take them out before doing it. And then simultaneously, the way we really work to remove bias is when we're setting up those screens like we talked about, we actually intake that recruiter input. So maybe you're trying to assess communication. So we will
Right.
show you, we will suggest here's like the description of communication. But
Okay.
then you as a recruiter can go ahead and tweak that, right? Because to David, when I assess it, or to a company as a whole, you can be on the same page here. Communication can mean something completely different to what communication means to me.
That's
So
that's what I mean.
we empower the recruiter to make sure they understand that. So that's completely up to the recruiter. So that way it's not based on what an AI thinks. It's based on what David thinks.
That's what I mean. And when I look at that, I'm thinking, wow, because I hear it all the time. I hear it all the time about, well, like I said, the race. Well, my age. Well, there's gaps in my employment. That's a big thing right now. Gaps in employment. You know, if you're not a good recruiter, if you don't think back with COVID, those 4 years, 3 to 4 years, even to now, you should know when you're looking at that resume, right? That like, what the heck happened here? Don't put that in your no file. I never do that because you have to stop and you have to be like, all right, COVID, all right, something happened here, real big. Now with the voice AI, that's not going to sit there and pick. No, it's not, you could ask it, right? Because it does that. You could train it to ask how long you've been at a job, right? That's just part of the questions.
Yeah, you could add that into a question for sure. Like we
It's not
we
going
have
to
the
come back and
ability.
say. It's not going to come back and say to you, well, what about that gap, right?
Yeah, no, it'll provide you an explanation, right?
Right.
But maybe you tell the AI, I don't want anyone with a very, very large gap, right? So
Right.
it comes down to you again as the recruiter, right? It's really like your little Copilot. That's how I look at it. It's your little
Perfect.
assistant to go do that initial step. Because this is not like it's not meant for you to take this and then you to get hired, right? There's
Right.
still going to be the recruiter in the
I'm glad
mix,
you
and
said that.
ideally, like
Yeah.
the recruiter is supposed to take the next conversation. So in our report, we actually do stuff like help that transition to the recruiter by actually identifying areas in that follow-up conversation with this individual. Where are the question marks, right? Because we really hand off to the recruiter. And so you said that example.
I love it.
See 1,000 remote applicants. Okay, you as a recruiter should maybe talk to 20 of them or 10 of them, but let's give everyone the chance to get their voice out there, but then still talk to 10 or 20 of them. Don't just be like, okay, the AI said, like, once again, it's an enablement platform. We're not making any hiring decisions.
Right, because you still got to go through the interview process. I'm still going to get my report. I'm going to look. I'm like, wow. Then I'm going to reach out to that. That would be your next step. I'm going to reach out and say, hey, John, you took this. I really like, I'd like to have you come in for a face-to-face interview. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
I think that Travis says here, successful people have gaps because they can. And that's Travis. Like, that's, let me read that again, Travis. Successful people have gaps because they can. Okay. I mean, yeah, I think I'm trying to think what you're saying there, what he's saying, but yeah, I mean, like you said, you would set it up that way, whatever way you want to have it for if you're looking for somebody without gaps.
Yeah, exactly. If that's something you want to specifically analyze, go ahead.
Right, package as a success. Okay, all right, that makes sense. Yeah, and Travis, he's out in California. So that's the next part I like. So you come in on your Monday as a recruiter, you would come in, and is it come to you by email? Do you get the results that come back for you? Like, what candidates that you should look through, or how does that do that?
Yeah, so I'll give you an example. So, you set it up on, this is a real life example. This company was looking for customer service reps, actually bilingual. They
Right.
don't have anyone that speaks Spanish. So they set it out on Friday afternoon. We set it up. They came back on Friday, 15 or 20 vetted candidates. We assessed English, Spanish proficiency, and they were able to see who are the best fits for this role. And then also, this is something we just rolled out, is we'll send you an email as well. So we'll ping the recruiter when that person completed the interview, be like, hey, this person was a great fit, right? Because maybe sometimes you as a recruiter, your job is about time, right? Because one of the biggest proponents we do is we can reduce that time to fill significantly, right? So if you really want to go after that candidate, we'll let you know. So you don't have to be like constantly checking the platform, or you can just show up Monday morning, check your dashboard, and you'll see all the vetted candidates.
And you still can go through a rejected, right? You can still go through, because what if an employee calls you and says, "Hey, I'm doing a follow up," because I envision after doing an AI thing, I'd be like, "All right, I haven't heard from them. I want to hear. I want to call," But you'd still have their report, so there's no difference. That's what I like about this. There's really no difference because you're still going to look back, at either can they upload their resume to this, or is that not?
Yeah. Yep, exactly. You can upload your resume, and then you could just view it in our portal if you wanted as well, or we'll push it back to your ATS system. But to your point, we don't disposition anyone. We'll just give you, we'll bucket them, right, to be like, this person is the most excellent fit, right? But we're not like rejecting anyone.
Right. Yeah, that's what I wouldn't think, because I know people are going to call me back. They're going to call and say, "Hey, Dave, I did this assessment. How'd I do?" And I can picture that. I can envision that. But again, the time savings on that part. So we talked about the resumes, the times of screening, endless calls. I love that. The bias. Um, I don't feel that, like, how many you can put as many questions in as you want, right?
Yeah, you
You
can put
can,
as many questions as you want. So the way I look at it, like on that interview agent, there's a bunch of knobs that you can turn
right,
on it, right? It's like I want this to be very structured. You give us 12 questions, we're just going to ask those 12 questions, boom, boom, boom. You give us just the JD, that's all we need. We'll have the conversation live, back and forth. It'll be, more dynamic for every individual. Or what I suggest is to be somewhere in the middle. Give us,
right,
5 or so screening questions, but give the AI the flexibility to ask the follow-ups. Because that's the beauty of it, right? So say you have a question that it's meant to be a short answer. You want a short answer response, and someone says yes, the AI knows it's a short answer. So it'll ask, one or two follow-ups so it can actually like a human, right? We try to
like a
mimic how
human.
like a human would behave in that situation. And to go to your points, a lot of what you were saying before, you kind of didn't say the words, but basically like I look at this as the ultimate way to do skills-based hiring. Because when you come out of it, right, that recruiter knows if someone is qualified, interested, and available, right?
Right. And you said you can do the assessments, right? You can add assessments to it.
Yeah, you can pick. So we'll basically suggest areas and then also the description of those. So we remove the bias and user recruiter can go ahead and edit them. But you can just put in your own, right? You can put in literally anything in the world.
Okay. And Travis says, take time off because you're successful and made enough money to do what you want when you want. God, I love that. I love that. I would love to be able to say that every day. Let me see. So there was a way that you could show me how fast you can design something. You were going to show a page that you could develop, like we could do a short page right now of how to start it.
Yeah. Let me see if that's possible right now. So this is
Or
kind of what yeah, go ahead.
oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. Sorry, just need to pull it up.
Yep. I'll put that on there.
No worries. Let me make sure I'm sharing the right tab here. So
Okay.
this is something new we're debuting. It's like our chat, right? Think of like ChatGPT embedded in your platform. So, and this actually happens when we have an integration, this happens in the background. But we've actually, for some of our users, for like, smaller SMB or like,
Right.
smaller recruiting shop, they might just use this as their source of truth, right? They might not have a bigger platform. So we've actually made it really slick to go ahead and make a screen, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what you're
So we'll
talking
just
about.
give it,
Yeah, right.
exactly, yeah. So it'll just take a minute or two. Our AI is just
Okay.
thinking here. So
All right. Yeah, I love this stuff. I
all
think
I did is type in, create a screen for software engineering role, but you can imagine dumping a JD in here.
okay.
Also just dumping intake notes as well, right? You might have like intake notes with the hiring manager or staffing agency with your client, whoever.
Okay. Oh, so they can add stuff to it. You can just put that right in there.
Exactly. When it
Right.
comes to AI, the premise is the more information, the better, right?
Okay.
It's quality in, quality out, and that's how it works.
That
So
makes
as you
sense.
see
I like
here,
that.
we had completely made the screen. So our entire
Yeah.
screen, job description, we came up with some screening questions. We'll come up with the assessment areas, all of that, and I can go ahead and now I'm done. That was me making an end-to-end screen. Obviously, you will go in and tweak it, but
Right.
would that take a minute and a half and you have a screen that I can send out to anyone for any job instantaneously?
And the jobs. And again, I know we talked about it. We said, but this can be set up if you're doing an Indeed ad or if you're doing any kind of career builder, Zip Recruiter, that can be integrated in there right as well, right?
Well, basically, yeah. So we're just link based, right? So you can just take that link. I'm sure a lot of people,
That's what
as
I
someone
mean.
applies from Indeed, you're
Right.
already sending out the automated email. You could just stick our link in that email and say, here's the next step. And that's how a lot of people do it, right? You might have a form and say, you're already sending an automated email saying, thank you for applying. But now
Right.
imagine instead of saying, thank you for applying, you get to say, here is the next step.
Gotcha. And that I love that. I know I had a couple questions on the video. Let's see, recording time. What was the basic waveform editing and the remove of Loom branding and upload and download video? What was that? I saw.
Oh,
What does that mean with the basic waveform editing?
so I'm not sure what you saw, but basically one thing that we can do is we can basically customize
I
the
think that's
branding of the screen. So we
that's what
could put your company logo up there. You can
that's
choose
what
your
it is.
company. Yeah, you could choose your company color. So all of that is like we could strip away it like you saw like the welcome to Hire Pluto. Like that
Right.
could say, Ring of Hire show. We could put your logo and whatever brand color you want
Perfect.
there. Other
Okay.
things we can even do is like our AI is called Pluto, but in theory, not in theory, you can change the name to whatever name you want, as well as do
Right.
things like changing the voice. I
All right.
suggest
That's
using
what
the
I was
voice
just
for
going to ask
you
you. I was like, come on, man.
because
You can put whatever voice you like on there, right?
exactly, we can
Love
use
it.
David's voice, but we do suggest our voice just
Right.
because, I mean, we have spent a lot of time in this game and we have picked the
Right.
voice that we think sounds the most human like, has the best, we've experimented with a lot of different ones and we've landed on this one for a lot of reasons. But if you're strongly tied to, using your own voice, that's something we can do, obviously.
Right. Oh, I love it. I love it. And then when somebody wants to reach out to you about, let's just say, the pricing, I saw there was a lot of things: starter, business AI, enterprise. Let's talk. They can reach out to you on the website right there too, right? With questions.
Yeah, they can just book a demo with me and I'm happy to
Yeah.
walk anyone through. Or they can reach out on LinkedIn, email. I mean, I give out my text message to literally anyone that signs up. So
Can
I'm
you
a pretty
text?
open
Can you
book.
text the link too?
Yeah.
On See,
The
that'd be
link to the
nice on a
interview?
text platform. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's something we can do. So we can text out that link. So we basically have like an omni-channel engagement here, which is what's really important. So when you talk about staffing agencies, you are really talking about inbound this entire
Right.
time. Like we've been talking about inbound. But the biggest use case we're seeing for staffing agencies is what we
Right.
call requalifying your database. So you can basically, maybe you have a new job rec and every recruiter goes through this pipe, flow. They're going to first look in their database, or that's what every, staffing agency owner wants you to do. Look through your
Right.
database. And then, you might find a list of 200 people. You could just send out Pluto, or we can ingest those people and we can start an engagement with them. We could send out an SMS link, we can send out an email link, and then we also will follow up. So say someone clicks on the link, doesn't actually
Okay.
start it,
That's
we
what I
start
wanted
up
to
a
ask you.
follow. Yeah, we do. So we've done we do follow up campaigns with them. So
Yep.
we'll do reminder emails like, "Hey, you didn't finish this," and we'll do a few, right? So we kind of like strike the balance between we don't want to spam people, but a lot of times people will click on the link, not realize what it is, and then they leave it. But then we see a lot of people just do it on the set. We'll remind them once, and they're like, oh, "Okay, I
Yeah,
have to
because
do that. I have to get this over with."
I envision that, like, if I was opening a DDAD, I'd be like, if I was not that time, say I'm at my job, say if somebody's even, you'd be like, "Ooh, but it's got to say that, I'm sure, right? It says audio, video. I mean, audio with AI. Like, what does it actually say? Like, does do they see that it's a voice AI interview?
So that depends. I mean, we say so. We have a pre-page. So like when you get to it, so we have a page that says like what to expect. Like, hey, this will take
Okay,
10 minutes. Be in a
perfect,
place that's quiet, and then
perfect.
we say it's like an AI powered screen essentially is what we tell. And then also this is not up to us, but some firms they can position it any way they want. Some
Okay,
people do position it like that, conversational cover letter, right? That I've talked
right.
about. Some people say this is like an interview. So we give the full power to who's ever using the product.
I'm a product on that. Now, does the employer does it matter? Is it a certain amount that you're allowed? Like, if you're putting on, you got to envision yourself, like you said, if it was a remote job and you're putting out there, as an employers, are they billed by usage, like a certain amount? Like, yourself, if you put a remote job, you might get 50 to 60, say even 500 applicants. You don't
Yeah.
know, right? You just don't know.
Yeah. So when we're working with like an integration or not, so the beauty of the platform is it can sit anywhere in your pipeline. I mean, some
Right.
people might have like a resume reader and they might disposition 20-30%, and then they want us in the process, right? Maybe they don't want us going out to every single applicant. Maybe it's like, grad years off. So it's
Okay.
not, we don't even want to send the screen. So we can actually work with different, stages, if you call it like
Stages.
an ATS or just stages in your hiring pipeline. And we can go out at any single moment there. So it's pretty
Okay.
variable. Like if you have 1,000 inbound screens, it's not guaranteed that we'll screen all 1,000 people. Like if you
Right.
want us to, we will, but maybe you
Right.
have some sort of other software tool, like a resume
Okay.
that you kind of disposition 20-30%. And then we'll come in the mix and do, the 700, like I was saying, the 800. And then
Right.
we have a various, you're talking about like pricing. So we have it really depends, work with a spectrum of sizes, right?
Right.
All the way from like an enterprise to a one person recruiter. So it's hard to say like we won't do it like where like we've experimented with a ton of different pricing models and like,
Right.
no one likes the, oh my God, like this could be an unlimited bill, like you were saying,
Right.
right? So we can have caps and different tiers like that
Different
to make
tiers.
sure that's all controlled, but a lot of different bundles we can do there.
And that makes sense. I have two more for you. Two more questions. Is now, as the employer gets the report, like you said in an email. Do they get to hear the voice at all? The
Yeah.
interview
So
process, if they want to hear that versus the way it's written, or I mean, I'm sure it's accurate, but do they get the option to listen to that?
yeah, so the way it works is, so you're saying the email is more like a notification that someone completed it. So we can
Perfect.
send the
Okay.
report in it, but the report basically will live in two spots or one if you want. It'll live within your ATS system, like I mentioned. You don't have to use our platform at all. We've built it where it's seamless. We're working 100% in the background. Like that creation of the screen, which I showed you, if you're
Okay.
integrated with your ATS, you don't really see
I
that
get it.
happening. That happens like in the background. So
Okay.
we can basically be that report will go in your ATS system, either in like a candidate notes section you can imagine, or like I mentioned, we have like our own section in some ATSs,
Right.
or it can live within our platform. And
Okay.
yeah, like you're mentioning, we give you the audio file, we give you the transcript and the
See, that's
report. So you get all three things. We won't just give you the report because we find it's very, one, we are very, we believe in our, Pluto, the AI interviewer, the AI agent. We think we have one of
yeah.
the best experiences. So we want you to listen to how well it went, but also we do things like for certain analysis on like a specific screening question, we'll actually be able to point you to where in the conversation it was said. So it's like, I want to
Okay.
listen to this question. So it'll be like, here, press play. Like, and it'll just
That's
play
all.
that part right there. So
Outstanding.
we'll give you like a score. We'll give you an explanation. And then if you still don't really believe us, rather than listening to the whole thing, it's like, just go to this one part of the conversation.
See, that's where I want recruiters. If if tomorrow, if you're watching this show or anything, just think of it as the candidate. And I like how you said about the candidate experience because I think that's the main thing right there. It's great for the recruiter, but it's got to also be great for that candidate because that candidate is going to be like, wow, okay, what did I just do? If you've never done something like that, again, when I was watching it, I'm thinking, Dave, how would I answer it? But I think you got to, when you open it up, knowing that, like you said, you got to be really prepared for it in a way, and treat it as important to get. I look at, again, like I said to you, is to get in there. That's my thing. I want to stand out, and I need to.
Yeah.
How do I show that by a voice? You know,
Yeah.
but I believe if you, like you said, I liked when you said you can go back if you need to say something, because I really believe that. To me, I would be like, oh man, I forgot. Like if I forgot a question for you now, I got to jump back to it. Same thing there. I'd be like, wait a minute, maybe SAP, or you need to know SAP or ADP, or software for recruiting. Maybe that was one of the questions. I didn't say that. And
Yeah. I
they're big
mean,
things,
yeah, you treat it like a human, right? It can go all the way to be like a very
right?
extensive, like, you're asking a bunch of technical questions, all the way down to some screening calls are,
Right.
do you have a driver's license? Can you
So
show up to work at this hour? And it's like, it does the whole 9 yards, the whole spectrum there, right? It's
mhm,
not, this is what it is, right? Our product is
I love
very
it.
like, look at it like a template is how I like to describe it to people, and like make it your own, because every single person that we've worked with,
Right.
the screen has not been the same, and we know that and we expect that, and that's why we continually make different type of conversation types, and we love to get requests from the people we work with
Yeah.
over, hey, can it do this? And if it already can't, we'll build it, right? Because that just helps our product. If someone brings
Right.
us something, it's like, hey, we wanted to try this. Okay, great, it works well, we're going to share it with everyone else using the platform. So
I think I get.
that's
I,
one of
I
the
think I'd get off of it. I'd be like to my wife. I'd be like, I can't believe I was just talking to with AI. Because to me, again, I want people to realize that this is a really great product. I mean, for time savings. The last question I had for you, I know it is, but security wise, everything. That's all a site to where everything's secured, everything like that, for data, for privacy,
Mhm.
everything like that.
Yeah, so I mean, we have the top notch security. We're going through SOC
Right.
2 right now. We look at
Okay.
ourselves as we are an enterprise grade platform. So everything we do, the whole 9 yards, when you have the backups and everything, like SOC 2 is really like, top of class when it comes to security.
Right.
So
I love it.
we're going through that. Yeah, we're going through that process right
I
now.
love it. And, I want to thank you for coming on here. This was awesome. And I really believe you got a great product here for staffing and recruiting. I mean, I'm excited to tell some people about it, and I hope other people, again, you gotta see it. I really want people to go on that website, see it, because from talking about it, I go on the website, but after I saw that video, I was like, wow, I was excited because as a recruiter, man, I can see that saving me so much time on a Monday or Tuesday. When you're starting that week off, and you're going to have all these great candidates that you could have missed out on, and you're going to have them in your, in your folder or whatever you need. I always like to do this, Sahil. If you want to just talk about who you are again, what you do, how they want to reach out to you, and then we'll call it a night.
Yeah, definitely. So anyone can reach out to me. It's just my first name, Sahil at hirepluto.com. I am always on my email. I'm always responding to everyone. Reach out to me on LinkedIn if you want. And yeah, I'd say, well, I'm the co-founder and CEO of Hire Pluto, and I love what I do, right? I love helping candidates and I love helping recruiters. And honestly, this has been one of the most, the best times of my life, I'd say, building Hire Pluto, just to be in such a fast moving and innovative space is just, there's really nothing like it. Everything is changing every day. When it comes to AI, there's honestly nothing more exciting than just following the news. I think every day there's been a big breakthrough, which is amazing to see. And I think, we're on an adoption curve, right? We're talking about voice AI and recruiting, right? But
Right.
what people should understand, like voice AI is going to affect every mode of life. There are companies
Right.
doing it for, customer service. I saw a personal voice AI that will call a restaurant on your behalf and, order food
Love
for
it.
you. It's like, it's going to affect, really every part of life, and ideally enhance it, to do the parts of life that people, they can now focus on more of the higher priority things. So
It is, and
yeah,
I
I guess,
use it as a tool. I like how you said that. It's a tool. AI is a tool. It doesn't. I use it as a tool because I, even with a podcast, there's some great questions that I could forget. That I'd be like, oh, you know what? That's a good question to get in there. And by using this, I just want people to look at it and really and sit back and embrace it, because it's not going away. It's not going away, and
exactly.
it's only going to get better. And again, I hope that somebody reach out to you from the show here and really talk about
Definitely.
that and go over. So I want to thank you so much for coming on tonight. I know you're Chicago, right?
I am in Chicago.
I bet that's freaking cold out there right now.
Yeah, it just got a little too cold for me.
I can imagine like that. So, but no, I want to thank you so much. I'm going to put this video on, and then I'm going to talk to you right after this show. So, all right. All right. I'll talk to
Awesome.
you in a minute.
Thank you for having me on, David.
Yep. Bye-bye.